whoever says to this mountain, be removed and thrown into the sea, and does not doubt in his heart that it shall be done, will have what it is he asks. Woo! Yahusha tells this to Peter, to Kepha, when they're passing by the fig tree that the day before Yahusha had said, no one shall eat the fruit of this tree. For the tree, the fig tree, did not have fruit when they were hungry. And as Yahusha passed it and looked for fruit to eat, there was none on it. And so he cursed the tree and said, no one shall eat from this tree. This tree shall not bear any fruit. And when they passed by it the next day, the tree had withered. And Kepha and the disciples, they walked by it, and Kepha said, this tree, it is withered and died. How did that happen so fast? And that's when Yahusha says, if you believe in your heart that it shall be done, it shall be done. Whoever says to this mountain, be removed and thrown into the sea, and does not doubt in his heart that such will happen, that you shall have what it is you ask. And so he then says, and so I say unto you, when you pray, believe in your heart for whatever you ask for when you pray. If you believe in your heart and do not doubt, if you believe that you receive, then you shall have it. The magnitude of what's been said there. The magnitude of what's been expressed in those words. The enormity of what is revealed in that statement. You could ruminate and ponder that for ages. And the tunnel, the vortex, the wormhole, the rabbit hole that weaves you through, the inner workings of the universe is revealed. And what Yahusha says there to Kepha, to Peter. He is the Alpha and the Omega and the Alpha, the beginning and the end and the beginning. He is all things. He is everything. And he's explaining to you the way this illusion works, the way the universe works, the way Yahusha works. And when you understand, and I'm not saying I understand it all, I don't, but I spend time pondering these things. I ruminate on the parables, the teachings, the phrases, the word, the way, the truth, and the life of Yahusha, so that I nourish my heart, I nourish my soul, I nourish my spirit, so that I can be as close as possible to Yahusha, so that all can be right for me with Yahusha, because I know when I am right with Yahusha, all is right in my world. And I want nothing more than to be right with Yahusha. And it's a very simple thing to be right with Yahusha. You simply follow his ultimate commandment to love Yahusha with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength, and love your fellow man as you love yourself. And as simple as that sounds, all is revealed within those layers of what is said there. That's why you want to ponder. That's why you want to ruminate. That's why you want to contemplate. That's why you want to meditate. On that simple commandment are all the good things and all the prosperity and all the hope and all the strength and all the discernment and all the wisdom that you will ever need. He has given to us. You don't need a preacher. You don't need a rabbi. You don't need a teacher. You don't need a priest. You don't need a wise man. You don't need a holy one. You don't need a magi. You don't need a yogi. You don't need any of those who hold themselves out as the gateway to the Father, because the only gateway to Yahuwah, the Most High who breathes life, the Most High who brings into existence all things, the Most High who creates, is Yahusha, the Son. The only way to the Father is through the Son. And the only way to salvation is through Yahuwah, Yahusha, Yahuwah manifested in the flesh. The name, it's all in the name. Yahuwah, Yahusha, Yahuwah the Most High who creates, and Yahusha the Most High who saves. And what he's revealing to us when he says, if you say unto this mountain, be removed and be cast into the sea, and do not doubt in your heart that it will be removed and cast into the sea, that it will be done. You shall have it, which is why he then says, for those of you who pray, pray as if you believe without doubt in your heart. Pray for whatever it is you ask of Yahuwah. You believe that you receive and you will have. But then you have to ask yourself, what would you pray for? If you know, as I know deep in my heart, that whatever I pray for, I will have, then what will you pray for? When you understand the enormity and the magnitude and the omniscience of Yahuwah, who stands outside of all things and creates all things, brings all things into existence, beginning and end and beginning. Would you ask for the trivialities, the infinitesimal meaninglessness of the ways of the flesh? Would you ask for money? Would you ask for a house? Would you ask for a car? Would you ask for a job? Would you ask for... Are you asking for the most infinitesimal, meaningless, insignificant things? But you might say, well, whoa, those things, that car, that job, that money, that's what I need to live in my little world, in my little bubble. And that's what's important to me. Those things are all side effects of what is important. And if you ask, again, imagine the enormity of what's been bestowed upon us. Yahuwah, who loves us, such that no matter how many times we've rejected him, no matter how many times we've turned our back on his commandments, he's made covenant after covenant after covenant to receive us and to bring us back home. The covenant with Adam, the covenant with Noah, the covenant with Abraham, the covenant with Moses, the covenant that we've received from Yahusha, the everlasting law written on our hearts. Love Yahuwah with all our heart, soul, mind, and strength. Love our fellow man as we love ourselves, and the law lives on our hearts, and we live forever in the kingdom to come. We live in the light. We live in Yahuwah, Yahusha. Imagine this. And all those things, those infinitesimal, meaningless things, that when you move and transcend through this plane of existence into the kingdom to come, none of these things, your bills, your cars, your house, your meaningless goals and targets and ambitions, climbing to the top of one mountain, climbing to the peak, getting the championship, getting the trophy, getting the praise, getting the glory, all these things you think that are important, they're meaningless. They're all side effects. They're meaningless. They're what happens if they're meant to happen in what it is you should truly be asking for. Because if you understand that whatever it is that you ask Yahuwah for, you will receive, and you understand the power and the glory and the majesty of Yahuwah, the Most High, the Supreme Elohim, He who breathes life into all things, He who fills you with the Ruach, the set-apart spirit, the breath that animates you and encourages you, inspires you, and gives you everlasting peace, everlasting joy, everlasting healing, everlasting love, and everlasting life, then you know that therein is what you should be praying for. And what gives you that, what gives you those things, is to love Yahuwah with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength. Love your fellow man as you love yourself. And that is the answer to the question of what you should be praying for. Because if what you are praying for helps you love Yahuwah with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength, and helps you love your fellow man as you love yourself, then you will receive. And all those other things that you think are important, maybe they are, maybe they're not, but in the grand scheme, they mean nothing. And anything that you do receive as a consequence of loving Yahuwah with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength, and loving your fellow man as you love yourself, is what you're meant to receive in order to do so. And that you will receive if Yahuwah deems it important, such that it helps you love Him with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength, and love your fellow man as you love yourself. But focusing on the minutia, focusing on your debt, your credit cards, your bills, focusing on the meaningless tasks of your job, of your chores, focusing on the infinitesimal mechanics of how to go about your day by day, to achieve some target, some objective. These things are not, it's the big picture. How do you enter the kingdom to come? How do you store up your treasure in the kingdom to come? How do you, the only thing that matters is that you love Yahuwah with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength, and you love your fellow man as you love yourself. And so if what you're praying for, and again, you have to understand the massive, huge, immense gift that you have received, such that if you revere Yahuwah, if you fear Yahuwah, if you honor Yahuwah, if you respect Yahuwah, if you love Yahuwah, you wouldn't ask for such a ridiculous thing as money, as cars, as earthly success, as any of the things that gratify the flesh, the ways of the flesh, that only lead to decadence, depravity, defilement, debasement, cheap thrills, cheap highs, cheap titillation. None of the ways of man, none of the esteem of man, none of the glory of man, no power that you can receive over other men on this earth, over no dominion that you could receive to lord over and rule over and have authority over circumstances, over variables, over people, over outcomes, mean anything. Again, any of that is simply a side effect. That if you're meant to have those things because it helps you love Yahuwah, Yahusha with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength, love your fellow man as you love yourself, you will receive them in asking for those things that help you love Yahuwah with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength, and love your fellow man as you love yourself. And so, the things that I ask for, are wrapped up in that simple commandment. What's really important? Your health is important. Peace is important. Healing is important. Love is important. These things are important because they help you love your fellow man as you love yourself. Praying for your fellow man is important. Loving Yahuwah with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength is important. Praying that others love Yahuwah with all their minds, heart, soul, and spirit are important. You have to really think about what you're asking for because you're going to receive it. But you can't be asking for these senseless, meaningless, infinitesimal, worthless things that will bring you none of the peace, none of the healing, none of the love, none of the joy. And none of the everlasting life that pleases Yahuwah, Yahusha. I pray every single day that I surrender to Yahuwah, Yahusha every single day of my life and ask Him. Here's what I ask for. Here's what I pray for. I ask Him to please Yahuwah, Yahusha. I surrender to you completely. Please guide me. Please direct me. Please show me how to live my life in a manner that pleases you most. I pray, Yahuwah, Yahusha, that your will is done within me. I pray, Yahuwah, Yahusha, that your will is done on earth as it is in heaven. I pray, Yahuwah, Yahusha, that you dissolve my ego and you obliterate my will and turn me. I pray, Yahuwah, Yahusha, that you turn me into a pure instrument of your will and a pure vessel for your message. This is what I pray for. Anything else that happens in my life is merely a consequence of what I've just asked for. Everything else that happens in my life is a side effect of loving Yahuwah with all my heart, soul, mind, and strength, and loving my fellow man as I love myself. And whatever it is I have or do not have, whatever it is, wherever it is that I am or am not, I'm right where Yahuwah, Yahusha needs me. Because I am right where I could serve Him best. Because, as I said, when you are right with Yahuwah, Yahusha, all is right in your world. So let us believe with all of our hearts and souls, minds and strength. And let us have that peace and that joy and that love and that healing and that everlasting life. And let all of our fellow men come to know Yahuwah, Yahusha, so they can have the same thing, the things that have meaning, the things that bring true strength, wisdom, discernment, love, joy, happiness, peace, solace. The only thing that matters. Love Yahuwah with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength. Love your fellow man as you love yourself. So let us walk steadfast and true, unstoppable, unconquerable, undefeatable, unassailable, uncompromising, as we move like a juggernaut, ceaseless and relentless in our belief, in our faith, to kingdom come.